Hello, I'm Chris, and today I'm making my GM headlight switch video. Now this is a super common switch that they've had, I mean, at least the late 60s to possibly the early 90s. And I'm going to show you how to wire this thing up, like where the wires go, and then I'm going to show you how to bench test this. Number one is that they have two styles. Okay, and familiarize yourself with the numbers. See the 1, the 2, the 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, because I'm going to use those in the wiring diagram. So there's two different types. There's a 7 and an 8 pin, and around 1970 or something, they made the switch. So if you have a car that's older than 70 and you don't know which one you need to go look at the wiring harness. So you need to actually get your switch over here and play around with it, but you need to find out which one the number 7 terminal is, would plug into, and on this one it's right here. On mine it's this one right here, and then you can see there's no wire in it. Okay, and you can't just say, oh well, dumbass, just count the terminals. No, it doesn't work like that, because they don't always use this one right here. So you have to locate the 7 terminal and find out if it's in there. And this harness does not have it. It's for a 70 Chevelle, and I use the 7-pin headlight switch. See, it's labeled backwards than what it looks like in the switch. That's the problem. This is the wiring diagram, so I'm going to cover the 7 and 8 pin because they're basically the same, with just this additional number 7 terminal. Let's mark the terminals first. Okay, so number 1 position is going to be a red wire hot from the battery. He don't have a number, so we're just going to call him G for ground, because we'll go over that in the wiring. This is going to be fused. This is 1. To understand the way this is wired up, it's going to have 12 volts to the number 1 terminal, and this is straight from your horn relay, and then you're going to have 12 volts off of the fuse box. This is going to be number 6, is going to be for your headlights. Be dark green. I don't really have dark. Oh, dang it. So this is for your dimmer. Alright, and on mine, this is going to be brown. And we're just going to call it tail lights. So this is for a 7 pin. So if you have an 8 pin, this is going to be 7, which is confusing. And then the 8 pin, I don't know what color the wire is. I don't have one, so that's going to be park. So if you're going to screenshot this stuff, this is a 7 pin, and then this is the 8 pin. I'm going to show you how to bench test this switch. It's actually really freaking easy, but some people don't know or just never done it before. So familiarize yourself with the terminals. In the wire diagram, we called him G right here. He doesn't have a number, and I'm just going to name the. I'm just going to say the terminals numbers. So you're going to have to study your wire diagram or something. Okay, so all I'm doing is I'm taking a jumper wire, and we're going to jump terminals 1 and 5. These are both going to be hot from the battery. Terminals 1 and 5. We're going to ground the motor right here, or anywhere on this metal thing, it doesn't matter. I just have it on the direct current on the 20 setting. And all we're going to do here, we're just going to confirm that the switch is working. They usually always freaking work. So the first test we're going to do is we're going to test the parking lights. And it's going to have voltage in there. But what we're looking for is that peak voltage that's going to say that that's on. Okay, so we're gonna test our parking lights. This is number 7 terminal. Pull our switch out for our parking lights. It's got the peak voltage. And then when we pull it out again for the headlights, it's gonna drop down. Okay, so that's working. Turn it back off. Now we're gonna check our headlights, terminal 6. Gonna pull it out. Pull it all the way out. That's when your headlights are on. Peeking out, so that means that's working perfect, working good. Shut them back off. Okay, now this is going to be for your tail lights. Terminal 4 is going to be for your tail lights, and your marker lights or whatever the hell. We're just going to test that out. Should come on with the parking lights. Okay, full voltage, and then it'll stay on. Okay. Now for this part right here, to test the dimmer, see this jumper, how it's got that brass thing, it jumps these 2 terminals. So whenever your freaking tail lights come on, it's energizing this tab right here. It directly contacts this, but then it jumps off of that contact and it goes through a resisted wire to over here. So the way you want to test this is you want to take your we don't need the power anymore. The way you test this is you're going to put your 2 leads on terminals 2 and 3. Get your leads kind of comfortable on there, and then we're going to put it on the 200 ohm setting. And then all we're going to do is the parking lights have to be on at least for this to work. You're going to turn it all the way to the counterclockwise, and then this is going to be the way it dims is when you turn it clockwise. So there's 0.1 resistance in the wire, that's nothing, and then we turn it clockwise, you're going to see the resistance increase just a little bit to a total of about 5 ohms. Broke. Okay, so we got about 3.8, 3.9, about 4 ohms of resistance, and then when you turn it all the way, that's actually disconnecting it, so it turns your dash lights off. So let's just go through that one more time. No resistance. Dash lights are full power. Then we're going to dim our dash lights, and the resistance is going to go up on the meter. Okay, so this one goes up to about 5. Yeah, 5, whatever, 4 or 5. And we break it, and it has no resistance now, and the dash lights are off. Okay, so for this last one, this one's simple. All we're doing is a continuity test right here. We're going to put our meter on continuity, or you can use a test light, it doesn't matter. This one, so we're just going to put one probe, ground 1 probe on this metal base. And then we're going to put 1 probe on G, because he doesn't have a number, so 1 probe is grounded to the metal plate, the metal ground, and then 1 is on G. And all we're going to do is we're going to turn this counterclockwise, and we're going to see if it grounds out. We're going to turn it counterclockwise all the way, and this tab right here is going to push a little copper tab thing down, and it's going to ground out. See? No resistance. Okay, so it's grounded. So that's all that's doing is, see the tab? It's actually making it touch right there. That's it. And the switch is good, man. A real freaking simple test, but the problem is there's just so many terminals on here, and you don't really know what to look at. You don't really know what you're looking at. This switch is exactly the same. You test the switch, you test the 7-pin exactly the same. The only difference is this 7-pin is missing, and where you would normally have the wire for your parking lights, I think they call them marker lights now, and it'll just be mounted to 3. So even if you had a car that you didn't like when the parking lights came off with the headlights, because I had a 67 C10 that I did not like that. I didn't know about this. You would take that wire out of the plug and you would stick it over here. So that all it's doing is coming on with the tail lights. Okay, so now I'm going to just talk about switch facts and things. Okay, if you have one of these switches and you're trying to get the button out, you're just gonna pull it all the way out. You're gonna push this button in right here. They all have this button, and this thing just comes right out. Now, to put it back in, you just literally just stick it back in. It should snap back in. You heard it snap. Okay, there's a problem that you can have with these where, like locking like it's supposed to. All right, what you want to do with that is don't ever push it in. Take this out first. Make sure that's out. Make that hole real big, and if you can see this will move. We'll take the switch apart and I'll show you. But you need to kind of jiggle this around. See if you can get it started. See if it got stuck. Okay, so don't freak out if you can't get it in there. Like I said, that's how you're gonna get that in there. Wiggle it. It will lock. So let's take the switch apart so you can see what's going on in there. Don't be scared to take it apart. This is a pretty tough switch, and it's real simple. All right, you're gonna get that where it wants to pop up, and then all you're gonna do, make sure this is out. Just kind of get it like that, and then you're gonna reach over here, and you're gonna pull all this out like that. Don't worry about it, it's real simple. Just a spring. And this is just the piece right here. And see, if you look in here, you'll see what you're pushing down. So this has a spring in the middle, so it's teeter-totting against the catch. This is the catch of the 3 positions, so it's literally teeter-totting on that catch. So whenever you push this little button down, you're just teeter-tottering it, and when you push it down, all you're doing is, like, see, releasing it. So that's just what this is, so you kind of understand what's going on. So in other words, if it's not catching, it's something, alignment issue. That's all the switch is. That's why I was telling you we're taking it apart, because we're going to go ahead and chem dip this anyway, because you want to get all that shit out of there, because trust me, you want to go ahead and open it back up and chem dip the inside. And see, you have to test it. You have to test it with hot going to it, because whatever the hell this is, you can't just test it with a multimeter. I mean, you can't just test it with like continuity test. You have to run hot to it and ground it to a battery that's charged, because whatever the hell this thing is causes it where you can't just run continuity tests on it when you're trying to test the motor, when you're trying to test the switch itself. And see how that Berryman cleaned all this up, and see, that's how I always take stuff apart to understand it. And in case you don't know what Berryman chem dip is, they sell this at auto parts, and people buy it for carburetors all the time. And see, I'm not lying to you. It's been in there for about, oh yeah, it's already freaking nice. Been in there for about 30 minutes. I'm gonna leave it in there for 24 hours. Oh, hold on. So this little piece right here, take this apart. I'm just taking everything apart so you can see. Some people like to see stuff like this. And then the other side, it's gonna have these little springs in there, and these little contacts. That's why you want to Berryman chem dip all this stuff to clean all these contacts off. They will be screwed up. They only go in there one way, man. You might have to check this out a little bit carefully. They're gonna go like the same angle. Alright. And then we're just gonna make sure that that's how they're gonna work. Yeah. Anyway, you might have to study that for a little bit. Make sure this little thing's out, because that's where the rod's gonna go, the shaft. Put it back in there like that. spring. Remember our little catch guy? Put him in there like that. And we're gonna grease all this up with I don't know, some kind of dielectric grease or some shit. Don't put any grease on this. We're gonna put a bunch of grease on all these sliding parts right here. You know, put a lot of grease in there. All right, now you get that in there. We're gonna get ready to put our top piece on there. This only goes on the one way. So whenever you're getting this piece right here, go ahead and kind of line it up like that. Put the spring on it. And then this piece right here with the two contacts is gonna go back, and then you're gonna kind of get them where they kind of like all line up. There's only two positions. The other position would be up over here, so kind of get it where it all lines up, springs in the middle. Since you turn it left to ground it out, you're gonna have it in there kind of like this. And then what we do is get this cover, and you want to start that first right there. Kind of get a hold on it first. Okay, so make sure that all this is in there squished, and then you're just literally going to just close it, sandwich it. Kind of hold it and kind of line all this up. Make sure that this ceramic thing isn't not in there right. And then all I do is just take a flathead screwdriver, carefully just bend these back in. Be careful, man, you'll cut the shit out of your hand. Been there, done that. Plenty of times. And you'll go back and tighten those up better. But that's it, man. The switch is all in there like it's supposed to be. Like I said, test it out. And if anything, you know how to take it apart now. Make sure that this cam thing is gonna ground that out all the way to the left. Make sure you have this cam thing in there the right way. Alright, so that's the switch. Thank you.